All right, this is part 26, and this is kind of going to jump around a lot and flesh out some of the things that I've been working on so far. This is Nicole Kidman. She's opening up, or she's wrapping. This is a Christmas present. We have Van Gogh, the redhead with the one ear, and then we have two different paintings by the original artist, and then a copy of it done by Van Gogh. And then we have the Kubrick movie, which is what this is really what we're doing here. Is we're being pointed to prisoners exercising, and interestingly enough, there's a pyramidal structure back here. So the prisoners walk around in a circle. I mean, the allegory to the flat Earth is pretty blatant. If you made it this far in the video series, you should see that what we're being shown here. We're prisoners walking in a circle with the pyramid over our head. Here's the man who would be king connection again. The reason we're being shown this is a connection to John Huston, the director. He was in this movie, and I'm not going to go into it now, but it's another thread that's developing. And this is Kipling, White Man's Burden. That's what Jack says in the bar. That's a Kipling poem. And The Man Who Would Be King is a Kipling creation. This one's pretty good. I think I showed you this before, or maybe I didn't. This is the Alan Parsons project. So we have the gold bug. We have the yellow beetle, the red beetle, the gold bug, Edgar Allan Poe, the gold beetle, or the gold bug. Peace on Earth, Purity of Essence. And then we have Snake Eyes, which is 1-1. So we already had the snakes, and we had Danny plays Snakes and Ladders. That part's cut out of the movie The Shining, and you got the Bushmaster and the Sidewinder and the Boa. And, of course, they put a one-eyed King of Diamonds. The only other one-eyed card in the deck is the King of Diamonds. And so that's pretty clever. It's the same language we're using here. Let's see what we have here. This is from Clockwork Orange, and you can see that there's a head bust of Stanley Kubrick, and he has what looks like, to me anyway, maybe it's not, but it looks like to me like it's a plunger on his head. So this fits in with the theme of Flushing, New York, and Pyle, and Turgidson, and horse crap. This is Kubrick saying, however vast the darkness was, we must supply our own light. Here's some syncs to Star Wars. I never noticed this in the movie, but C-3PO has one leg that's been replaced, so he's a one-leg robot. He's had a failure. He had to have it replaced. Here's another Alan Parsons thing where they use the one-eyed King of Diamonds. Here's 1-point perspective hidden in Full Metal Jacket. We see these A-shaped pillars like Apollo, the god of the sun, and we can see that they're dropping down as the distance goes away from it. This is 1-point perspective. This is why you think the sun sets. The sun never sets. The sun's always at the same height all the time, but as it travels away from you, it appears to set, so you think you're on a globe. Here's a sync to the Bond movie. And he's running through, and he runs through the moon set, because we have the U.S. flag right there. And the moon buggy has the bubble top, just like the Adams probe, just like the Lincoln limousine. And, of course, it has a sphere on it, too, so that's pretty interesting. And, of course, Sean Connery is a Scotsman. As I said before, I haven't decoded this movie. But just seeing this, there's something in here. They landed the Descartes crater, and Descartes was a flat earther. In The Shining, Jack bounces the tennis ball from the floor to the ceiling, then he bounces it to the wall that has the tapestry on it, and then he throws it down the hallway. Those are the 3 cardinal directions, length, width, and height, which was what this guy was all about. And he didn't believe the round earth theory, because he could do the math. And we had the Playboy bunnies, and I said that Jack reads Playgirl, and that there probably are male bunnies in this puzzle. Well, there certainly are. We have Rocky, Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, the horse. He's a Looney Tunes. Sylvester Stallone is his real name. There's the smoky-colored bear rug. It's not a brown bear. It's not a black bear. It's a gray bear. It's a smoky-colored bear rug. Here we have the 427 Corvettes, just like Danny's little toy that he had, and we have the Moon Rover, the impossible Moon Rover that they bolted on the side. We have the ball hair. Shelley Duvall had ball hair at one point. Or hair balls. Here's the UFO TV show again. Here we have the three-dimensional chessboard. This chess theme is repeated throughout Kubrick's puzzle. We have Wendy's one-step camera. So you have one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. This is the only one-step camera they made that had the rainbow on it. And, so Kubrick's research was ridiculous. Here's the real Ahwahnee Hotel. And we can see how close it really is to the original Timberline Lodge. We have the Frank Lloyd Wright style. I don't know if they're Frank Lloyd Wright windows, but they look like they're Frank Lloyd Wright style windows with repeating geometric patterns that are mirrored, which is exactly, that's our puzzle language. That's what we're doing. And this also, I'm showing this to illustrate that the fact that he omits the pyramidal-shaped roof in the hotel doesn't make sense, because he went to the really extremes to get these interiors to look like the real hotels. So this is our Yosemite clue here. We have Yosemite Sam. This is in Yosemite National Park is where this hotel is. And it's based on Indian designs. Napoleon, he was the first emperor of France. He was a redhead. There's the Timberline Lodge, the Snowcat. This is the clues to the Fuchs' first transantarctic crossing. Here's a clue to aspartame. We have Snackwell's Devil Food cookies here. This is Betsy von Furstenberg. This is one of the first clues you find that is pretty blatant with the F. Her first name, or her last name is Furstenberg. So this is kind of when I did the puzzle initially. This is the first indication I got. We're looking for firsts, and it's one of his first Look magazine. I don't know if it's the first. It's not the first magazine expose he does, but Kubrick takes these pictures, and she's Betsy von Furstenberg. And then we're using every available piece of bandwidth we can get. So we got Woody Strode with his Woody Strode hat on and Sergeant Rutledge. And we also have, God, I hope I have the picture. I thought I did. We also have, in John Carpenter's The Thing, the main actor there, he wears the same kind of hat. So it's just a hat sync. Here's James Forrestal, the first Secretary of Defense. So once again, everybody has to have something that's the first about them. That's significant. And here we have, he's the first Secretary of Defense. He clearly knew about the saucers. He clearly knew about the lies in Antarctica and that we don't live on a globe. And he was murdered. He was thrown out of a window. The chess theme is throughout the whole movie. She's a redhead. We have the one-arm man, the one-eye man, the one-ear man, the no-nose man, the one-leg man. It goes on and on and on. And so we get to Star Wars, and, Luke gets his arm cut off. And we have Luke Crater, Apollo 15. So Spielberg and Kubrick are clearly working together. And, he says, Luke, I am your father. So it's always father and son. So now you have the father cutting off the son's arm. You got the Mickey Mouse clues, the joke. You have Pyle, who's not a very bright individual, and he's an excellent shot. So are we to believe that Pyle is some kind of expert in spherical geometry and the effects of Coriolis, on the shooting range? No. So Coriolis is Croc. This is a pretty good one. I hope I'm interpreting it correctly. Maybe I'm not, but my interpretation is this: is the Earth orbits in one direction, and it spins in another, and then the sun moves around the galactic plane. We have all these different motions going on simultaneously, and no one can really explain how that really works. Here's Danny's Mickey Mouse sweater where Mickey's kicking the football. It's a sweater again. Here's the salute from JFK Jr. to his father when his father died. He looks very much like a young Danny Lloyd, So, is that an accident? I don't know. Here's the Daisy Daisy, the computer that sung the first song in the 1950s. I'm so crazy off the love of you. The chess clues in both the UFO TV show, Star Trek. There's Kubrick smoking, once again. There's a little foreshadowing, JFK Jr. took the plane. And he does look a lot like Danny. He's a little younger than Danny there, though. Here's David Prowse, professional bodybuilder. He becomes Darth Vader. He doesn't do the voice for Darth Vader, though. Actually, Zoggy from Dr. Strangelove, which is James Earl Jones, does the voice of Darth Vader. So we have a connection to Clockwork Orange. This is the guy that was in Clockwork Orange. He was the bodybuilder. He was a pro bodybuilder before that. And we have James Earl Jones, who was in Dr. Strangelove. He does the voice for him. So, there's numerous connections to Star Wars. It's not just, the man who would be king clue. There's Betsy von Furstenberg with her hand-knitted wicker hat she's wearing. And, of course, the clue we're being given her not just because of the Furstenberg. We're being given her because it's the same issue where they're talking about flying saucers. Here's another UFO TV series. We got the chessboard again. There's David Prowse, who's in Clockwork Orange, and Sir Alec Guinness, the guy that dies on World Autism Day. And, he's a Sir, so he's been knighted, and also he plays a Jedi Knight in the movie itself. So he's a double knight. You got Paul McCartney's wife with the one leg. This is Kurt Russell. He was a Mouseketeer. So I believe there's a category of Mouseketeers forming. I only have a few of them so far. But he was one of the original Mouseketeers. And he also did a movie, The Strongest Man in the World, right out of the gate as well. So he was like a Disney kid right from the beginning. And his nickname was Moochie. David Lee Roth. It's looking more and more like the band Van Halen has been woven into this puzzle. And, he's Diamond Dave. He's in Playgirl. We got Michael Anthony with the JD bass. We got Eddie Van Halen is like the Jungian guitar player great. I'm sure he's been voted greatest guitar player a few times. He has a handmade guitar he made himself. The Kramer factory was in Neptune, New Jersey. So there's a lot of little clues that these guys are in the puzzle. And also his son's Wolfgang, which is a connection to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And the first song he writes is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, which is in the puzzle. Here's Lily Sobieski. Lily is short for Lolita. So her real name is Lolita Sobieski. Sobieski is a company that makes crystal. So you had the Tiffany lamp, the Sobieski, the Cartier fight, the Longines chronoscope program. And so we're being given jewelers and gold and silver and diamonds and rubies and all the constituent things that go into jewelry. And also we're being given in Clockwork Orange, he says, one Timex watch with a white metal, it's always white is the color we're always looking for, a white metal wristlet, he says. So That's a watch. We had the watches, the Bulova watches that the Apollo astronauts took to the moon, and of course the Longines chronoscope. Longines was the man that killed Christ with his sword, and the chronoscope. Kronos is the god of time, who eats all his children, and a chronoscope itself is actually used for navigation. So I mean, the Longines chronoscope title of the program couldn't have been any more interwoven into this puzzle than it is. You know, you have Saturn, the god of time. It's a chronoscope. You use it for navigation. You know, here's Kurt Russell in Playgirl. Whoa, look what's going on here. And, you know, he plays Snake Plissken with one eye. I haven't decoded this movie, but, I mean, all the other John Carpenter movies I'm looking at are loaded with stuff, so why wouldn't it be in there? I mean, this is like a neon sign now, if you know this language. You know, John Malkovich calling me Kubrick, you know, he clearly knows this language. And, you know, he does the pictures of the Arbus twins. And we're using games. We're using chess. We're using checkers. We're using baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, you name it, we're using it. Here's the One-Eyed Jack's club in Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is 2 aces in card slang. You know, he says, you can suck a golf ball through it. Here's another golf ball clue. And it's like a golf ball through a garden hose. You know, Coriolis. We are hammering the Coriolis. You know, he has hammered it. Now here he is literally sitting on the bathroom filming it. That's pretty funny. And we have a comedian category, and I don't have very many. I know I have Rodney Dangerfield now, and I would bet money George Carlin's in it, but I can't connect him yet, but I'm working on it. And when I get the comedian category, I'll do it. And, of course, you had Jackie Gleason, you know. Here's the fallen astronauts. So you had Walker, Runner, Strode, Ride, Easy Rider, Blade Runner. And then you had the fallen astronaut. He couldn't make it. He didn't make the run. The flat tire and the killing, you know, the handmade Morgan car. Tim Carrey dies in every movie. The heart-shaped glasses. You had hearts, you had clubs, you had bone clubs. The first blackjack billy club ever invented by Moonwatcher. You know, here's the Yankee Clipper clue. You know, this is the Yankee Clipper, and they even put a ship on the medallion and blah, blah, blah. What do we got here? You know, the one-eyed card player from Barry Lyndon. This is from the same guy that did All Things Jack. I love his stuff. I go on his site and I'm there for an hour just staring at his work. But this is another clever one, and I just want to point out here that this is Jack Daniel's single barrel. So you know, in whiskeys, you have single barrel whiskey or double barrel whiskey. So when Barry Nelson says, "Well, he put both barrels of shotgun in his mouth," you know, it's all in the interpretation of the language. You have single barrel whiskey, double barrel. So that was pretty clever. The rest of this, I don't even, you know, I know this is the chicken place, but let me go here. Let's see what else we got. This is the original. See, now at this point in the puzzle, you should be able to look at this picture and know what's going on here. You got the one-eyed Jack, you got the jack-o'-lantern, you got Jack Daniels, you got Jack Nicholas, you got Jack Dempsey, you've got Jack Lemmon, I don't know who this guy is, Jack Benny, Jack LaLanne, I don't know who any of these people are here. I think this is Jack from Titanic. This is Jack Black. This is Wolfman Jack. This is Jack. Oh God, he always plays a drunk. I found his name. I can't think of it offhand. And you got Jackie Gleason, Jack Klugman, Jack Palance does a lot of vampire movies. Jack the Ripper. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this is. You got the Queen of Hearts. You've got the stone, jade-colored stone bust of Kennedy's head. You've got the Jack in the Box, the Jackknifed Beetle, Jackson Marbles. You've got a Rolling Stones song, Jumpin' Jack Flash. You've got Jack and the Beanstalk, so you got Alan Bean. Cracker Jack. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. That makes no sense. Why would you go uphill to fetch a pail of water? This is a Archimedes, water finds its level. You don't go uphill to find it. You get the jackhammer to the doors of perception. This, I believe, is an art piece, a glass art piece, probably a Tiffany, but I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know. This is Jack be nimble, Jack. There's your candle. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. And of course, the Jack Daniels bottles has a beer tap on it, so this is a clue to we're looking for more than Jack Daniels. We're looking for whiskeys and vodkas and moonshines and Corona beer and Budweiser, the king of beer. And you have Jack Sprat down here. Jack Sprat is the plum. We had the apple, the orange, the lemon, the lime. Now we have the plum. So we already have a category of Roberts, Bobs. So you got Plum Bob. We had the category of Kubrick's unmade movie Swing with the Nazis. We had the tennis racket swings. We have the baseball bat swings. We have the ping pong paddle. You swing it. You swing a golf club. So you got Plum Bob and all those swinging things, and you got the gyro. So what we're looking for here is the Foucault's pendulum, and there's more clues to that later. I'm not going to get into them right now because it'll just confuse you. Jack Sparrowson, I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know what that's about. And then you got Jack Whiteside Parsons is in here, by the way. So we're looking for Jack Whiteside. I'm sorry. This guy's name is Whiteside. Jack Whiteside something or else. He's a musician, but we're looking for Jack Whiteside Parsons is we're looking for, the guy that starts JPL Labs. So I love this. I'll put the link to this in the bottom. This guy's a genius. I love his work. We got Playboy Penguin, the lone inhabitant of Antarctica. And it turns out he's actually a Looney Tunes character. Here he is right here, Playboy. So he's only in 2 episodes. And one is 8-Ball Bunny and one is Frigid Hair. Both of them are about Antarctica. There's all kinds of clues into here to Admiral Byrd and ships. And there's no explanation as to why this episode is called 8-Ball Bunny. The 8-Ball doesn't have anything to do with this episode whatsoever. So we already had 8-Ball, Dorian Harewood, Jungle Bunny. So it really fits our puzzle a little too well, for circumstance. And of course, in this episode they travel to Antarctica. This episode I can't find a copy of it. Somebody knows where this is. I'd love to watch it to see what's in it. But I'll include a link to this, and you can watch it. It's very interesting what you see in the video. And I think that's everything for this. It's kind of just like a wrap up. And that's it. Have a good night. Later.